Welcome to episode number 33 of the CoinSec podcast. On this week's episode, we discuss Grid Plus, exit scams, Binance freezing, potentially stolen funds, and a lot more. So stay tuned.
Want to secure your assets.
We can crack the wallet.
Oh, we've done it before.
We've got rigs, character adversary, attribution mode.
With our private keys combined.
Building some kind of blockchain super weapon.
There's just a number of vulnerabilities that are in these smart contracts.
Math. It's probably secure.
They all secretly mine cryptocurrency.
What coin can I trust? Which one is cryptographically secure?
Don't roll your own crypto. CoinSec podcast. The CoinSec podcast is a podcast about cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies with a focus on securing them. Don't let the hum of our dual-purpose crypto miner / password crackers in the background disrupt your listening pleasure. Today, I am your host, Bo Bullock, and today still, I have other people with me. Today I've got Mike Felch here. What's up, Mike?
Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, man.
Been
You made it out of South Dakota, okay?
yes.
Me too. We sorry for the delay in episode, listeners. We're kind of busy with this conference thing that we were working on for the last couple weeks, but we're back.
That in the last quarter too. I mean, we have a lot of conferences if you think about it between like August and the end of the year.
Well, fourth quarter is pretty busy in general, right? Yep. That's like traditional. So,
And that would be the voice of Ralph May. What's up, Ralph?
what's going on? Ralph May today only, though. I'm gonna change it after today.
Yeah, gonna be Ralph November.
2018. That's a major point.
Oh, it's funny.
And we've also got Steve Borosh. What's up, Steve?
Hey, here every day. Good to see you guys.
I know, Steve's like the only one that's like, I'm ready to go every week. And it's the rest of us three that's like, well, I guess actually Ralph's pretty good about it.
No, I've been there. I've been like, I'm ready, let's go. And then people are like, oh no, I gotta go drop my kid off to school or something like that,
Yeah,
I've been trying really hard not to travel lately, so I'm around.
We're just busy with travel too.
No dust in the wind.
Yeah, travel's rough, but nevertheless, we're here and ready to talk about some cryptocurrency stuff. So, I guess without further ado, we'll start talking about some prices. So the overall market cap is at 205 billion, and that's a little bit down from the last episode. So I think it was about 3 weeks ago, the last one we did, and that was at 219 billion 3 weeks ago. So not a huge drop. Considering, like if you look at the prices between like the last time we were on for Bitcoin and where it's at now. It was at 65.92 previously, and now it's at 63.72. So nothing too crazy there. Ethereum's at 198.72. Ripple's at 45 cents. So interesting fun fact that I think is actually, I don't know, it's a very, I guess like, I wouldn't say like iconic point in time, but it's a very much a pivotal thing that's happened, is for the first time since 2015, the actual price of Bitcoin went under where it was exactly a year from that day before. So yesterday that happened, which is kind of interesting. So like over the timeline of 2015 and now, there hasn't been a single day where the price was less than it was a year ago until yesterday. So that's kind of an interesting fact, I think.
Some solid growth.
Solid growth for sure.
Not here, but
yeah, but does that mean are we going to see a decline?
I don't know. Let's also look at some of the other. Look at Ravencoin surging and been surging. I had to bring it in. It's number 63 on CoinMarketCap. So while some things like Bitcoin are starting to not look as good as it was the year before, we have alternative trends with other coins that aren't following Bitcoin's standard cadence, so to speak. So it's definitely an interesting time for some of these altcoins.
And if you sort by the change in the past 24 hours on CoinMarketCap, Ravencoin is actually the number one right now, 20% growth in the last 24 hours. So something's going on with Ravencoin, guys. What is going on?
Yeah.
well, the asset layer is about to go live. I hope.
Yeah.
I'm actually watching the asset activation status right now. So current percentage is at 72%. And I went into the Ravencoin Discord, it was like yesterday, I think, and I asked about this. And because I wanted to go in and put my vote in. A lot of these blockchains, you can vote on the blockchain for whatever feature is coming up next. And the way that Ravencoin actually votes is you mine towards a pool that is voting, basically is either a yes or no vote. So wherever the strength of the pools is kind of where the vote goes. And yesterday, there's at the bottom of the QT wallet for Raven Core, there's a little thing that says could vote pass, and it's been solid yes, but it actually flipped today to no. I don't know what that means, so hopefully that that doesn't mean what I think it means, and that the asset class activation isn't going to activate, but I'm not sure.
The asset class activation, so from what I understand with Ravencoin, like the assets are pretty much anything you want them to be, right? Like you can kind of tokenize your own asset. Is that how that's supposed to work?
Yeah, so in order to create a token on the Ravencoin blockchain, which just for your past references is a fork of Bitcoin that's been modified heavily, you can now create, you can spend or burn 500 Ravencoin RVN, and it'll create a token that you can then issue out tokens to people under that as like
is that like a set amount? Like, or is it like the same number of tokens every time you give 500? So like, if I wanted to create a token, can I specify like I want like 1 million tokens?
Oh yeah, you do. You specify.
Yeah. So similar to like the way Ethereum creating tokens is.
Yes. Yep.
With like a smart contract. So is it?
Except for they're unique too, right? So there's only going to be, I think.
Yep. You can only create one. You can either create it so that it's transferable or non-transferable. Once an asset name has been made, nobody else can make it. You can't get rid of it. So that's kind of interesting. Huh?
Is the uniqueness just in the name of it? Like,
yes.
That's what it's determining is what's unique. Okay, so kind of like a domain name, I guess. Like,
exactly.
Want to be like the first to get like the first domain.
First come, first serve. So think about it. If the asset class goes live and somebody registered Ravencoin token before the Ravencoin devs did, then is this a new version of squatting where you can just squat on a name and then sell it for a certain amount of coins or Bitcoins or whatever you want to the highest bidder?
And so what would be the purpose of having like your own token? Like, so like, for example,
so their use cases are like gaming. So you could do in-game tokens. So you could trade like, let's say WoW or something.
Like a token or a WoW token or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'd be like the payment in game or like the currency in game or something.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And there's also some speculation that NASDAQ has been looking at Ravencoin tokens as far as issuing securities and stuff.
Interesting.
That actually drove some of the price increase about 4 weeks ago. There was a Reddit post that put this stuff together in kind of like a speculative post. Whether that's true or not, I'm not 100% sure, but
well, very cool. I mean, that's interesting to see it grow because I know we've been talking about it a little bit over the past half year, I think, since we started mining it. So it's cool to see like some activity actually happening with the asset layer. So I'm looking at CoinMarketCap now, and I mentioned like right now that Ravencoin's the number one in terms of growth. Right behind that, at number 2 is Bitcoin Cash, which is actually really interesting to me because like I mentioned to you guys before the show that allegedly Bitcoin Cash is going to have a fork November 15th. So today's November 2nd. And I've seen a few different articles coming out talking about like how there's this really big conflict between Jihan Wu and Craig Wright, and there's the potential of Bitcoin Cash splitting. And like in one of these articles, it talks about Jimmy Song, who's a very popular person in the Bitcoin realm, Bitcoin developer, one of the main Bitcoin developers. But he mentioned how he thinks that Bitcoin Cash is just going to straight up disintegrate in November because of this. So it's interesting to see the price actually kind of going up a little bit for Bitcoin Cash whenever that's kind of looming.
Now this fork, do Do you know much about it? Like, is that going to make it mineable, more mineable, or anything like that?
No, I don't know.
Is it going to be like another airdrop thing?
So, like, I mean, I guess if it's a fork, I mean, like with most forks, you get,
you're going to have the original class. Okay.
right. But I don't see any details on what, like, technologically is supposed to be different. I'm sure there's probably some post out there somewhere talking about that, but like the Ledger wallet paused services for Bitcoin Cash because of this, because they themselves are worried that they don't want to support a coin that's going to be potentially like volatile in a way that's like could allow for like double spending and stuff. Like if for example, one of the main coins or if one of the forks kind of like wasn't being as maintained as securely with enough miners, that potentially you would have like unwanted transactions that might happen from like replay attacks and that kind of thing. So Ledger's straight up said like, we're not even going to support Bitcoin Cash for a while until we kind of see how this plays out and see which one ends up being like the dominant chain. So all right, I guess we can move on to security news. All right, the first story for this week, we've got a transparency report regarding Spankchain. So, Steve, is this yours?
Long.
Yeah, actually,
It has to be. It has to be.
so I think we talked about this a bit on the last episode a couple weeks ago, and it had like just happened that day, I think. And I think the news that was coming out was saying that it was some kind of flaw in the protocol. It was a fork of Bitcoin or something like that, and they didn't update a certain flaw, and then somebody just mined a bunch of it. But it turns out that this Medium post by Connex, CONNEXT, released a transparency report, and they talk about it, and it was a smart contract vuln that somebody manipulated to basically dump tokens.
This was in the FAP contract.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, the harder. Yeah, never mind.
Mine was Steve's definitely long on this coin.
Oh man.
Insert jokes here, I guess. Right. So.
All right. So anything else?
It was actually called the vulnerability was a join channel reentrancy attack. So the attacker could create a channel with ETH and a small deposit of ERC20 tokens they wanted to drain. The channel could then be joined by a party address controlled by the attacker, where they would generate some signatures.
Hey Steve, what were the tokens called?
I thought they were.
I think they're Spank,
aren't they? Yeah.
I think in this article it looks like
booty.
Yeah.
Booty. Yeah. BOOTY.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, this is cool that this is a very technical like blog post talking about exactly what was wrong.
Yeah, it's a good one, and if people want to follow up with it, I'm sure we'll have it on our site.
Cool.
I mean, I think that that whole asset class actually makes sense. I mean, weirdly enough, like I don't think it's a weird thing to have a coin specifically to this industry, but it does kind of suck though, and you have issues with it. That was just one of the side chains, though, wasn't it?
I'm looking at this contract and I'm just amazed at how much this technology has advanced since the last time I looked at a smart contract. I mean, these function calls and what they're doing, and they're passing in, create channel, and it's just amazing. But it's getting pretty thick.
All right, so check this out. If you go down to section number 3 of it, it talks about lack of a professional external audit. This actually is something that I think we as security professionals can chat about a little bit, because this is real right here. So like they talk about how they decided not to have an external audit. And the rationale for that decision was because the cost of the audit was quoted at $50,000 relative to the funds held by the contract, which was $38,000, and didn't make economic sense to conduct one. So like this is something like when we talk about like ransomware attacks, like we've talked before about like, you know, just creating like a fund, like just pay the ransomware off instead of like actually like, you know, trying to like fix the problem, you know?
I mean,
in our industry, in the security realm, I think that's more along like, can we pay for somebody's salary to audit these logs and look at Splunk and do all this on the defensive side? But
like, should we
order a pen test when we have insurance?
Yeah, should we pay for another employee? Should we buy like the latest Blinky Light thing that costs $100,000, or just, hey, if we get hacked, we'll just pay them off? You know.
I mean, the other side of this too is, I mean, even if you did pay for an external audit on this, I mean, what's the likelihood that somebody's going to see and find the vulnerability? I'm not saying that they wouldn't or that they would, but I mean, you still run the risk of them not finding everything that's going to be there. I mean, that's the nature of the work we live.
Yeah, you're definitely still going to have the risk no matter what, no matter if you would have done the audit. But you don't spend $1 million to protect 10, right?
That's true.
simple math, right? You're like, oh, if I lose $10, why would I spend $1 million in defense of that $2, you know, $10, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I see the point. And even if they did do that audit, they may have been like, well, we didn't find it in the audit, right? So, I mean, there's no guarantees there. I think that's where kind of the insurance comes into play, right? But you know what insurance wants? They're going to want that test to prove that they did their due diligence. They at least attempted. So, but.
Okay, so the next story we've got is Binance froze the accounts of a bunch of they froze a bunch of accounts that appeared to be moving possibly stolen funds. So, a Singapore-based exchange called WEX, WEX, which apparently is like the rebranded version of BTC-E, which that one was around for a long time. Like I remember back in the day, BTC-E being around, which was shut down in connection to a multi-billion-dollar money laundering operation. Apparently, they were trying to move some funds around, and it was reported that like the WEX exchange was maybe like, I don't know, like what, like exit scamming kind of, and like trying to just get rid of all the funds. But they sent it to Binance, which was kind of a really strange move. And then at Binance, they actually froze the accounts. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
So yeah, I mean, is this something like if you are moving around funds between different coins and you're an active trader, is this something you have to worry about on Binance, that all of a sudden they just might freeze your stuff because it meets some algorithm that you have no control over?
I don't think it was because of an algorithm. I think it got reported.
People were complaining.
Yeah. I think somebody probably saw that. Yeah, several clients of WEX were complaining loudly on Twitter. So yeah, I guess we'll kind of see where that goes. I don't know if there's been an update to that story yet.
So there was something known malicious happening, and the known attackers were moving into Binance in order to do the transfer. Is that what was going on?
I think so, but I think it was more on the lines of like the exchange themselves were moving it. Like it wasn't like I don't
wasn't
think
an attacker on there, you're saying?
Yeah, because like they were moving millions of dollars from its exchange to Binance. Let's see if there's any updates here. No, I still see. So this is like a day old, and it's still talking about the same stuff. Yeah, so I mean, I guess like I don't know if the kind of thing to take away there is that if you're doing bad stuff, maybe don't try to send it to a major exchange.
Or have an exit plan.
Yeah.
It's like, we got all the money, now what? I don't know.
I didn't plan that far ahead.
No, let's just send it to Binance. I'm sure we can cash out there.
They will never know that we're moving
fast,
millions.
though.
Well,
Binance must have acted fast.
Yeah, I mean, for the whole ecosystem, I think it's a good thing. It's one thing John McAfee has been rambling about a lot in his incoherent wisdom lately, is that in order for the cryptocurrency markets to really take hold and become mass adopted, a lot of the fraud and scams and all that stuff has to stop. I mean, we saw it when recently there was a Senate hearing, and all they basically talked about was how people are using it for fraud and extortion and all kinds of stuff. And it's bigger than that, and the ecosystem can be better used than just those malicious use cases. So,
I think that's a reproduction, though. I mean, of the problem, right? So not doing anything is allowing the scams and fraud to occur. By stepping in and actually legitimizing it a little bit more from the government perspective or wherever, it's going to immediately have impact on that negative use of the cryptocurrency.
Right.
Yeah, so apparently, there's a little bit more to the WEX story. So apparently, they were doing some suspicious stuff by actually selling Bitcoin for way more than the normal going price. So at the time of this article I'm reading right now, at the time that it was posted, it was selling at $8,500, which is 35% higher than everything else. And then apparently in July they completely halted withdrawals of funds altogether. So you couldn't even withdraw anything since July apparently, which is weird. So. All right, next story. What do we got? Here's another exit scam. So since we're on the topic of exit scams, the Oyster protocol, which is a hybrid IOTA Ethereum smart contract platform. The founder apparently exit scammed and stole $300,000 from the ICO smart contract. So apparently Bruno Block is the project's original designer. And according to the CEO of Oyster, Block was able to use a function within the Oyster smart contract, which he insisted must remain in the live code to make himself director and thus mint new crypto tokens, at least 3 million, which he subsequently moved to KuCoin and sold to the tune of $300,000.
Lovely.
Mini payoff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so it makes me wonder, so this function that's in the smart contract. I mean, so if you're looking to invest in an ICO, I mean, do you read the smart contract to see if there's a backdoor that the designer put in there to steal the funds?
I mean, well, bear in mind, whoever the designer was or whoever is writing it, whenever you initialize that smart contract on the blockchain, I mean, you have to set the owner of that contract, and then whoever has the private key to that address can always make future calls to it. And so it's kind of baked in by default, right? So that's not really, I mean, you kind of have to, in some cases, have some sort of functionality where that can take place. Because, I mean, what happens if something happened, the vulnerabilities in the contract that has a lot of tokens assigned to it, that's a well-traded currency, and then something happens where you have to burn it and then redeploy it, transfer everything. You have to have that functionality in there to do that. So I'm not sure what this smart contract looked like, but I think the majority of smart contracts has the initialization setting the initial owner to somebody or to some contract. So.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that's kind of dumb about this is the dude stole $300,000. What's he gonna do? I mean, if you're gonna
right.
you're
not gonna go buy an island and disappear.
Exactly, right? So he's not gonna be gone forever. He's gonna get caught. People are gonna find him. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm saying is like if you're gonna steal money, maybe like steal more than that, so you have enough to like buy an island.
I mean, is there any legal repercussion for this? I mean, besides just like calling it stealing.
I mean, I'm sure there's probably something.
I mean, like, was there any implicit like, agreement that it wasn't allowed to do this? I mean, I know it's wrong. Like, I'm just saying, like, legally.
Not morally. You're just saying.
Yeah.
Not ethically. You're basically just from a criminal perspective. That's a great question to ask. I mean, has anybody ever actually really been?
I really don't know.
It's
curious. Like, if you could just like, if they found him, be like, yeah, we're, I mean, you could sue somebody, sure, right? Like, you could sue somebody for anything you want, but I mean,
is that his real name?
Who knows?
Bruno Block.
I mean, it won't be his new name.
Change my last name to Block. Mike Block.
Yeah.
Bruno Blockchain.
Bruno Block may have reappeared as Mike Block.
It's like Kim.com.
Yeah, you get famous for being like famous.
Steve Sphere.
Yeah, you're gonna steal like negative fame. Anyway,
All right.
I mean, at least he made 300,000 on it. They could buy a Lambo.
just one Lambo.
Maybe.
That was the goal, I guess.
Maybe that was the goal. Win Lambo now.
Get the Lambo and then get out. Okay. All right. Next story is EY, which I had never heard of them. Apparently, they're a big four accounting firm. So you know them?
Yeah, I think they also have a penetration testing team too.
Oh, really? How about that? So anyways, they announced that they have a tool that they're bringing to Ethereum that is supposed to bring zero knowledge proof, like I guess a privacy solution of sorts to it. And it's a prototype currently. It's aimed to allow companies to create and sell product and service tokens on the public Ethereum blockchain while keeping access to their transaction records private. So I guess, like there's been like other private blockchains you can do with Ethereum previously, but like that gives you transaction privacy, but it gives you reduced security because it is like in a private setting. Whereas if you could do the same thing on the public blockchain, but still make them private somehow, like make the actual transactions private, but on the public blockchain, that makes it more secure.
That's interesting, especially being that a lot of the transactions on smart contracts have the data payload that's kind of fully transparentable. So it'd be kind of cool to see how that plays out. That's actually an interesting use case for Ethereum. And from Ernest Young, I mean that's a pretty good company to have kind of behind that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure isn't Zcash? I mean, don't they use zero knowledge proofs if I remember correctly?
Z Snark, which I think is that, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Does have a patent pending, so
they're bringing like a Zcash kind of privacy element to Ethereum, which can be pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I'm curious how it really works. So if patent is pending, can we view the patent somewhere?
That would be pretty sweet. I guess we can look for that.
So check that out.
Alrighty. You guys want to talk about some malware from Macs? Because we all know Macs don't get viruses.
Can't get hacked.
Yeah, they don't. They're impenetrable fortresses.
So I hate to burst your bubble, man, but apparently a cryptocurrency ticker application called CoinTicker appears to be installing 2 backdoors on Apple Macs. Yeah, so Malwarebytes apparently put out a warning stating that it installs Evil OS X and Eggshell, both of which are backdoor applications that obviously can be used to hackery stuff like log keystrokes, steal data, execute commands. So hackery stuff. Yep.
Hackery.
So I take it. I mean, does it say in this article whether or not that was from like an app store, or is that just like something you would have to download probably?
Yeah, probably something you have to download third party. Not to say that the App Store hasn't let some bad stuff in there, but.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's if you're looking for monitoring cryptocurrencies from a ticker level, then don't use CoinTicker, or you might get some malware.
Wait, I think it is on the App Store.
Is it? Are you installing it now?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm installing all of it right now.
I guess there's not too much more to that story.
Yeah.
Max get viruses.
Yep.
Yeah, Macs get viruses. Macs are just as susceptible to malware as a Windows system is. In fact, Windows Defender is probably the best free antivirus that you can get now. Like
I agree with that.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. I mean, it hasn't been that way forever. It's really only in the past, year and a half that it's really come around. Once they started working on ATP and stuff like that, they pushed a lot of those technologies into Defender.
The main reason I bring that up is that, Apple doesn't have any security software built in, right? As far as malware.
No, not really. I mean, there's
not the
sandbox
section.
protections and stuff like that.
Yeah. But they don't have any of that. So just, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't use it. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
When can I install Defender on a Mac?
So I've done.
Yeah.
I think
my pen's car. I took a break. It's an Apple now. Sorry.
Damn, I lost my train of thought. So I think some of the best things that an end user who's listening to this can take away from this is that even though you can't do like very good maybe malware detection and stuff like that, there are tools like Little Snitch. And what's the one from Patrick Wardle? I think it's Block.
I have not heard of that one.
Which he
Block.
Block, or actually Lulu. It's Lulu is the new one. It's like a knockoff of Little Snitch. So anytime a malicious or any program on a Mac tries to connect out to the internet, it'll prompt you and say, hey, do you know what this is and do you want to run it? There's Glassware for Windows, but for Mac, Lulu is a really good tool. And I've done some all Mac red teams, and Little Snitch has been what has caught us on those engagements, or has been the only thing that stopped us on Mac engagements.
Nice.
And that's just if you're launching malware on a remote system. That's why in Empire we built in the check for Little Snitch to not fire off if Little Snitch is running, because it's alerted on us in the past. So it's effective if you're looking for something to help block against this kind of crypto malware. I would check out Lulu by Objective-C, and that's SEE, not C.
The other thing too, Little Snitch has got a hook. If your code is not signed, it will automatically block it. Right. So if you don't have a legit code signing cert, like it'll just block it right away. It'll just be like, that's the default rule. Like, don't even play in this, field here. That's without, setting it to block everything. But
Sure. Yeah. And so Little Snitch can cost money. Lulu is free. I don't know I don't have it on my Mac, so I'm not sure which. I mean, I just got this thing, but I'm not sure which one's better with all this stuff. But check them out.
So the next article that I kind of put in here, I put in here for one reason. Well, first of all, I did not put it in here because it's a paid for article. Because you know, like you go through like CCN, website CCN, or like any of like the cryptocurrency sites, and like everyone has like paid articles now, and so you have to be really careful to like pull out the information from certain articles based on whether or not you know that they are paid for or not. Well, this one was paid for, and I pulled this one out for one reason, and it's because
Let me guess.
Oh.
Unhackable.
Yes.
Yes. I knew it. I knew that's why you did that.
In the subject, it says unhackable. It's like, oh my god.
And that's how you knew it was paid for, right?
Yeah, actually. So let me read the subject to this to our listeners. Okay, so ANEX, ANEX, poised to announce ICO featuring unhackable cryptocurrency technology for internet security. So
I mean, they are missing AI and blockchain in their buzzwords. I mean,
it's probably in the article.
Yeah. Well, they paid for it, so it probably says that.
So
AI.
technically, there is an AI in their article.
There is. Yeah.
And blockchain voices in there.
Hold on, Cyber Advanced Technology (CAT).
Yep.
And it's using OT technology, so it seems like it's probably trying to spur up all of the OT, IT, critical infrastructure people. So it's a market ploy, I guess. I bet.
The name itself bothers me, like what you're talking about, the OT, the operational technology. So that if you stop there, I'm okay with that. Just operational technology. But the fact that they have operational technology - operation, like that just doesn't roll off the tongue.
That's like UMUC College, University of Maryland University College.
Yeah. Operational technology operation centric networks.
Yeah. How much?
Well, yeah, those are so like within like the power and energy sector, like ITOT is a common acronym, right? So it's not. I mean, I wouldn't have seen it. I wouldn't have known what that was unless I've seen it before, right? And so I would have just thought that they're just coming out with some new termed thing. But from what I'm understanding, it's literally looking at OT and trying to tie some sort of blockchain to OT. Is that what they're doing here? I mean, I can't even make sense of this article.
Yeah,
to be honest.
they have a sentence in here that says this eliminates all the flaws and deficiencies of the current internet into blockchain standards, which is inalterable, decentralized, and trackable by the users involved in the transaction. So it sounds like they're trying to turn the internet into a blockchain and eliminate everything that's wrong with the internet. Good luck with that.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see the link to like buy a stock or something though, so I'm just.
So OT basically
ICO
is what's
scheduled to be
used.
announced on the 15th, November 15th.
November.
Okay.
Which oddly enough is the same day that Bitcoin Cash is forking. So
It's gonna be a hell for the blockchain that day.
I know we should definitely film an episode on that day.
Live.
So OT basically manages all of the industrial systems. So if you could think about like the ICS and the plunger lift controllers and the SCADA systems for energy, for gas, for oil, for all of those. And if you've done any testing against any of that type of infrastructure, you know it falls over if you port scan. So it's just kind of interesting to see like how operational technology is actually going to solve all of the world's problems. I'm excited to see that. It's going to revolutionize the entire United States infrastructure.
I'm actually going right now to get in on the ICO. So while you guys keep talking about it, actually, I can't even find the website. This is horrible. I'm not even in the Google.
No, seriously, like that's if you're going to pay for an article, like why wouldn't you include a link to your own website? Like,
okay, so they're probably trying to raise fund. So they're talking with some sort of groups of people, and they put the article out there so that they could be the first out there.
The link.
Yeah, they can go reference it. They're going to throw it on their portfolio. Hey, look, we were covered by CCN, and they just pay some marketing team to kind of fork all these different articles to these different news sites, and then they win like all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, so no, seriously, like there's no website. Like, where's the website? Like, this is bothering me.
Oh wait, I think I found it. Unhackable Cloud, Cyber Advanced Technologies Inc. Such a weird domain, www2.
This is one of the Chinese ones.
Speaking of Chinese, off topic real quick. I had a blog at reverseshell.net. Reverse shell was with a 3 instead of an E. And I moved everything over to Medium recently. So I let my domain lapse. And like immediately within a day or two, some Chinese site or person bought my domain and has it redirecting to some Chinese news site. So apparently my domain was, useful to somebody.
I used to do that. So back in like 2009, I think I used to do that. I built some tools that would monitor the expiring domains, and then I would register them based on the number of backlinks they had. So if other sites were linking to your site, it's really good optimization. So if you redirect it to that new one, you tell Google that you're pointing all of those links to this new site, then they get all of that backlink propagation, and it makes their site more higher content within Google. So there's tools that automate all of that. I'm not surprised.
Sure. Just got picked up.
Yeah, probably got it pretty quick. You probably had a lot of good references too from other sites.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm pretty good at Googling, and I cannot find this company's site for the life of me. Did you find it, Ralph?
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Oh, it's literally unhackablecloud.com. Oh my gosh, you're right. Unhackablecloud.com, but with www2.
Yeah, it's a Chinese company. I think it's a front.
Yeah?
That's my guess. I'm no expert at this.
So what else are they selling on here?
They sell some stuff to put in their company.
Some corporate cyber arena stuff.
Yeah. A lot of small USB devices you just plug in and they help you.
Impenetrable cloud integration for any device. With an anti-theft plan.
Low jack.
Honeypot, anti-hacking enabled. Ability to trace and disclose hackers. I like it.
Yep.
Because IP means person, right?
Yes.
Yep.
If you didn't know that, you obviously haven't read the slicks.
My lawn guy just decided to show up, so I'm trying to mute. And just decided to, since we were finally recording.
What is it, Mike?
I know.
We can
exactly.
What?
Like,
Mike, we're losing you,
we're
Mike.
recording in a couple of weeks, so let me just bring the lawnmower out while you decide to record.
All right, so that was the last security story. We've got a couple non-security news stories, which are kind of interesting. So this first one is that Coinbase says they're adding hundreds of new coins. So they got a funding, $300 million Series E funding by Tiger Global Management. And I think right after they got that, they announced that they're going to work quickly to list more cryptocurrencies. And I think they said like hundreds, so...
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
The gorilla's getting bigger. The gorilla's getting bigger. But I guess they want a piece of that other, all those other tokens and other coins, right? With the transaction fees from it.
Yeah, I mean, so I've often kind of wondered, like, so why, like sites like Binance, like that have, like, I don't even know how many they have now. They have 100 tokens at least, Like,
sure.
Why is it so easy for them to just add so many new tokens whenever you have Coinbase, which has been around for a long time, and they still only have like 5 or 4,
I don't know. I think, where's Binance located?
China.
Yeah, there it is. Named it.
I mean, I think part of it too would be like those ones that you are supporting. If you're only supporting a short number of them, and you're a high volume exchange, that's going to put a lot of emphasis on those 5 coins. It's going to actually make a big difference. The other side of it is too, like you don't want to just support all of the coins despite them being a popular coin, because then you're going to open up the opportunity for attackers to kind of do what they do and move stuff through these coins, or support somebody that's just going to use it for an exit scam. So I don't know. Like if you look at it from that perspective, it does make a little bit more sense. It's kind of like the Apple iPhone thing with Android. Android lets anybody into the Play Store, whereas iOS is very restrictive, but they keep that quality, that good content inside. Whereas Android, you just have all kinds of crap that gets thrown into the store. So
Mostly malware. No, they've tried to make it better. I mean,
So what you're saying is Coinbase is making a statement that Bitcoin is the true cryptocurrency.
well, I don't know if they're making a statement that it's the truth, but it might be making a point that we're not just going to let anybody come through here. You better be legit, and if you want to do business with us long term,
Why
we're
is
going to make
Bitcoin
sure
Cash
that.
on there?
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know. Or it could be.
got a good point.
It's a valid
honestly,
point.
do you think they're gonna pull it now after this, fork and massacre?
I hope so.
I mean, I don't know. I'm in one of those weird scenarios where obviously because it was a fork, I have coins in that as well. But I don't really care. I still don't think it was a great idea or we needed this. I just felt like it was a get rich quick. But that's just all my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then this right here is going to even show more of that kind of continual disruption to split it. And how many times is it going to split when people are just oh no, I'm going to split it because I don't like you. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, we've talked about it before. We have so many different forks. We have Bitcoin Diamond, we have Bitcoin Cash, we have Bitcoin whatever, It's,
Sure.
I mean, technically, most of these other cryptocurrencies are built off of Bitcoin anyway, even if they're not a fork. We were just talking about Ravencoin a little bit ago. It is basically Bitcoin, but different, it's just, they changed it a little.
Yeah.
Right?
They should come up with Bitcoin 2.0 because that'll really mess up the imaging. 'Cause, oh no, it's the Bitcoin. It's the Bitcoin 2.0. So it's the better Bitcoin, not just a new platinum or reserve or whatever.
I don't know. I think Ravencoin's kind of like Bitcoin and Ethereum having a baby.
Ah,
Mm.
I like it. I like the imagery.
Full disclosure, we're all long on Ravencoin.
You got a good visual.
Maybe we, I guess to make that really happen, we got to get Spankchain involved somehow.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what else we got here. Oh, hey, we can all play CryptoKitties on our phones now. That there's a MetaMask client.
It's
That's
party,
pretty
man.
cool. There's an actual MetaMask is a huge plugin for your browser, for your web browser. And previously, to do anything smart contract related, that was kind of the go-to, right, guys?
Yep.
That's interesting because I thought I just saw something. I was in my browser developer tools, and I saw in the console something from MetaMask saying that there was going to be, I forget what they were saying, something about discontinuing or something. So I don't know what it was, the browser extension. But I saw a message from there saying, and I was like, wow, they're going to take this out. But I wonder if it's making sense now that they're moving more towards the mobile side, pushing emphasis on the smartphones.
Yeah, no, that'd be definitely interesting.
I don't know what it was said. I'm gonna see if I can pull it back up. I might have pulled it out actually.
Yeah, I've used MetaMask a little for a couple dApps, but I haven't really used too many dApps. But now that you can bring it on your phone, I mean, then maybe we could have. I don't know. I'm surprised that there's just not is there any iOS or Android apps that are a dApp, but it's just an app you could get to download and it kind of it's MetaMask underneath kind of thing, right? MetaMask as an app. I wonder if that's a thing.
I don't know. We got CryptoKitties. There's a bunch of them now. That's one of the more popular ones. Has the MLB one come out yet? Remember there was going to be the MLB.
Oh yeah.
I
haven't seen anything since we reported on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, if you want to install MetaMask on your phone, you can.
We could do it.
So the last thing I kind of got in here to chat about is this Grid Plus company.
Ooh, yeah.
So I saw this and I thought it was kind of interesting. So Grid Plus is a company that sells various hardware products that are cryptocurrency related. They have a few different things. They have this like Lattice One, which is supposed to be like an impenetrable vault for digital assets. Allegedly, that's what it's called. Apparently, they have some. What was that?
Unhackable.
I haven't seen that yet. Have you seen Unhackable on this site?
No,
Because we can just stop talking if they do say
it's impenetrable. So
impenetrable.
same thing.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Another site looks slick though. It looks
does
slick.
look slick, yeah. So they have a mobile app called Grid Plus Pay that looks like a typical wallet for your phone, and then they have these safecards, which I think this was kind of like the interesting thing that kind of pulled me into this. That I thought might be worth checking out some more is that these safecards allow you to basically you could carry your digital assets around like on the card themselves, or you could lock the card like in a vault somewhere. But more interestingly, that I think is kind of a point to make here is that you can split them across multiple different cards. So we've talked before, like how did the Winklevi store their cold wallets, because like allegedly they split up the private key across parts of the world, and we were joking about like, oh, what'd they do, like print it out and then rip it in half?
Right.
Well, if you had something like this where you could split it up digitally onto a grid card, like on an actual like piece of plastic card, which is, it looks like kind of like your credit card with like the chip that you would use like within your credit card. I'm guessing it stores data there, and that's what this is doing. So it might be kind of interesting to see how that works. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I actually would like to look at. I'm wondering, like, does it only let you do certain tokens or?
Like, is it limited to
coins?
what you can put on it?
I'm a little confused too at like why we need a token to pay for my electricity. Like, it doesn't seem too hard to just take it from my bank account. I know this is like against everything in cryptocurrency, but like I guess I'm trying to say is what's the benefit? What's the cost? What's the benefit for me as a customer to have a system that pays in tokens?
So they have a white paper here that talks about
rolling through it. I can't read it fast enough, but
yeah, it talks about like just the supply chain of energy, and I think I mean, is it mainly meant to like help you just pay for your energy, or is it supposed to be like tracking your energy usage via blockchain?
Well, no, I think the tracking is part of it too, right?
Okay.
But I think it's paying for it as well with some kind of like token, right?
Yeah, that's what they actually call the grid token, I think.
So I didn't even realize that they have like a token too. So that's kind of interesting. I was pulled in more because I thought of like the hardware was interesting, but okay, so they have a token as well. So that means they're probably going to have an ICO, right?
Yeah. So I guess the thing that they're saying is that typically 50% of the cost for retail electricity is used for paying electricity energy itself. The other half is tied up in administration burden, marketing, and risk management associated with bad debts. Retailers are often slow to evolve and rarely welcome new technology with open arms. So I guess their ploy is that they can save on the total cost to get electricity to your door, in the sense of like overhead and all the other pieces of the pie, the way that energy goes down the supply chain. So I mean, it
sounds like the Grid Plus is like it's meant to like be like a commercial retailer. So if you actually go to like in the white paper, go to like value propositions, which is section 3. Section 3.1 talks about the short term and how the Grid Plus could be an energy retailer. So it talks about how in a deregulated market that potentially you could sell energy, I guess. with a Grid Plus?
Yeah. So what they're talking about here, I'm reading. It says they basically sell you what's called a smart agent. And the smart agent will be able to programmatically buy and sell electricity on behalf of the user and intelligently manage smart loads, e.g. Tesla Powerwall or Nest thermostat. So what it's saying is if the Nest, let's say, smart agent monitors the demand response markets, and if configured to do so, will use the Nest to turn off heating and air conditioning for a short period of time in order to earn revenue. So it's like a global grid of sharing in electricity. So I'll turn my electricity off a little bit. You give me some token, and that type of thing. Sounds like.
Interesting. Sounds like we're going to end up with a very, very dystopian future very soon.
Yeah.
Well, they also talked about risk too, like bad debts. I guess, when you consume electricity, you're agreeing to pay for it at the end of the at the end of the month, right?
Mm-hmm.
In some areas, right, it could be like a couple months before they turn your electricity off, right, for like non-payment. So, but all that electricity that got consumed, right, like it still costs somebody money, right, like the company or whatever. So there's a lot of bad debts. But with this system, it would actually be billing you in real time because the cost of transaction is so incredibly low. It can do that. So there would be like, an instant, all that bad debt shouldn't exist, right? Because it's you either have money in the account to get your electricity, or it's just not coming to you, right? So that was one of the other propositions they had kind of put there. So
I mean, all right. So like, it sounds like they're doing more things than I originally thought. Like, I originally thought that it was supposed to be like a security, like hardware wallet of sorts, like the bigger box, right? Like, so they have like the mobile app, they have the cards, and then they have like this box thing they call the Lattice, I think is what it's called. And apparently I guess that the larger device is also what connects into your home electricity. So would you be storing your funds on the same thing that's paying for your electricity? Is that like kind of what they're thinking there?
Well, I mean, you're technically your funds are stored in your wallet address on the chain.
Right,
They're technically, not sitting on the device itself.
But your private key would have to be there if it's paying for it, right?
I think that's where the card comes in. You probably enter the card to authorize the transaction.
Gotcha.
I think it's like more like a gift card type thing that they're using, right? So like you top it up, you'd be like, oh, there's so many bolts in here. That's good enough normally for a couple months, right? And then like it just obviously is counting it down as it's paying in real time. And then when it gets lower, you're like, oh, I need to top this thing up with more bolts.
Yeah, the bolts. Okay, so reading more about the bolts, they are stablecoin. So a bolt is 1 USD.
Oh, okay.
So like the bolts themselves will never change value, which is interesting. Bolts will only be created when customers deposit fiat to Grid Plus, and will be destroyed when Grid Plus customers redeem Bolt for USD. So okay, that makes a little bit more sense, I guess. So like, I guess if you have your device that stores your cryptocurrency, but you're not actually using like Bitcoin to pay for your electricity, you're using bolts.
Yeah, but you're just using their system to transact those dollars, right?
Right.
And then, but they're still just a dollar equivalent. It's not like, oh, I held on to bolts for the last 3 years, now I get electricity for a while. Appreciated electricity cost here.
That'd be pretty.
No, I think this is their way to just solve, the whole payment, the whole supply chain and payment of energy, right? Try to save 25%, which in turn means it's cheaper for everybody. I think that's the idea. I mean, you got to realize a lot of middlemen there who are going to be out of a job, literally, like no money for them. But is that good or bad? Right? It's good for me. I'd like a 25% cut on my electricity costs.
Yeah. So what's weird is they have the Bolt token, but they also have the Grid token, and so the Grid token is what they're actually selling at a token sale, like an ICO token sale. And there's going to be 90 million of them. And it says each grid token will be a credit on the Grid Plus platform, redeemable by customers of the Grid Plus platform for the right to purchase 500 kilowatt hours of electricity at wholesale price available to Grid Plus in the relevant jurisdiction at the time such electricity is received by the redeeming customer. Interesting. So
what if you don't get grid in your area, though?
Yeah, right. Like I'm going to be the only one with a grid.
Well, I mean, you could arguably say that you go sell it on an exchange to somebody else who does have
true
that tech, right? But yeah, I mean, you're kind of hoping. I mean, the one thing I didn't read in there, which it could be in there, is just like maybe how much it's actually saving. Like, what's their like goal? So like, if they're saying there's a 50% overhead, are they talking about like a 25% reduction? Like, how much of an overhead reduction could this tech bring to the consumer, right? To be like, what? They don't have grid in my area? It's like 40% cheaper with grid, But it's kind of like everybody wants Google internet, right? Because whenever they come into town, they put fiber, give you gigabit internet for like $70, right? And all the incumbents want like tons of money for that same, literally tons of money, or don't even offer anything near that. So, I mean, the idea would be, is this tech the kind of thing that's like, oh, what, our city doesn't have this? If we did, we could all save money on electricity. Why don't we have this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. That would be the proposition to get it to appear everywhere, right? I mean, obviously, again, there's going to be some like political blowback the same way like Uber wasn't taxi cab drivers weren't too excited about Uber in their cities, and they wanted to, and restrict laws and all this other stuff, right? So you probably have a lot of pushback from like the traditional electricity industry.
So I've got to laugh a little bit at, how like every ICO has like epics, like epics,
yep.
like in the way that they're going to push out things. So
milestones, right?
Yeah, the different milestones. So this one has its roadmap at the bottom. So from Q4 2017 to Q3 2018. So what likely just finished up is what's called the Edison epic, which that's okay. Like, inventor of the light bulb, that's cool. Then there's the Tesla epic, which is phase 2. That's Q4 right now, 2018 to Q3 2019. Phase number 3 is the Musk epic.
Oh.
Q4 2019 and beyond.
Nice.
Oh, hey, and Smart Agent AI optimization is under that one. So, So AI, blockchain, it's Elon Musk.
Jenkins for their build process.
No password, right?
It could be the new version, all right?
Well, I think this definitely looks like an interesting product. Probably won't be investing in the ICO, but like definitely the hardware device looks cool. I like that. I like the cards.
Yeah, they do have a GitHub. I was actually looking for the ICO place, or the site, but I couldn't find it. So I don't know.
Maybe it's not.
What's the address? Where do I send all my money? Just shut up. I'll take my money. You told me everything I need to know. This is going to change the world. Take my money.
Yeah, you would think it'd be linked on the page there, but
yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're not ready for it yet. Like they're planning on it, but they're not. They don't have anything set up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, look, it looks like they already did it. So I see a blog post from November 2017 of plan for unsold grid. So I don't know if that means like they already did it, or let me see. Plans for unsold grid. Into the level of funding Grid Plus has to pursue. Oh wait, so maybe now this is still. Wait, yeah. So they must have done it because like it says there were 51 million grid remaining in the sale contract at the culmination of our 2-week-long token sale. So they already did a token sale a while ago.
Got it. And they still had some left over.
Yep. And that was a year ago.
Oh wow.
Yep. Well, I mean, it looks like they're making progress. At least they have some designs for hardware stuff. So, well, guys, I think we're running out of time here, and Mike had to flee. He had to probably go chase down his lawnmower man. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Everyone, come join us in the CentralSec Slack channel at launchpass.com/CentralSec, and then you can join the CoinSec podcast Slack channel. And then follow us on Twitter at CoinSec Podcast. Keep an eye on CoinSecPodcast.com for links on the show. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app, and if you like the show, leave us a review. And fellas, any last final words you want to tell these people?
No, I'm good here.
Man, you had me in the edge of my seat.
I know, right? I thought you had something so good.
A little hamster in my brain kind of ran out of steam. So.
Just quit.
All right, guys. Well, until next week, we will see you later.
Alrighty.